Do you remember when we went to an Italian restaurant? Was it Mario's down on West End? And we had an Italian dinner one night. John and his wife and Tink and I, and when we left, there was a motel down there called the Anchor Motel.
Yeah.
And when we left, there was some rock and roll music coming from one of the rooms at the Anchor Motel. Pick up the story.
Well, George called me the next day and said, I've found a group that you ought to see. You see, I was producing a little bit, and I was fooling around in the studio. And he said, these guys you ought to look at. And so I got in touch with them, and they came over to the house, and we spent the summer changing their name, changing their direct. They're just doing Beatle hits, and so their names were the Allman Joys, and so we changed the name to the Allman Brothers. And we learned up in over our garage on how to write your own songs and how to be your own artist. And so I took them around to all the producers in town. All the guys producing them for him. Not a one of them saw these kids. None of them believed in them. None of them were impressed by them. And so Greg said, what do I do? I said, get on the plane and go to California, man. You're too far ahead here. These people, they're looking for more traditional, working class, Middle Tennessee country songs. Yeah. And so they did, and about 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Greg. And he said, we've met a guy that wants to produce us. Now, I had him signed to the writers, publishers, artists, record company. I had him signed to all the right places that young producers back then would sign them to. And he said, well, this guy's interested in doing this, but he wants to be able to produce it. I turned his letter over and wrote, you are hereby released from all contracts I have with you. Because I had been held by a publisher against my will, as all writers in Nashville have, and are just now getting that straightened out through the Songwriters deal with America. And so I didn't want to see that happen to these guys. And then, of course, the rest is history. But I've never publicly apologized to you. I should have split that deal with you, but I knew you'd be in England on tour, and you wouldn't be accessible, and it just had to come instantly.
Well, yeah, and it makes up for me recording your first song while you were at National Guard camp. So I owed you one anyway. But Break My Mind, as I recall, was originally written.
We need that list.
It was, yeah, I've got it right here. It was.
Oh, you have? Okay.
It was originally written.
Do you have the list?
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna move the microphone closer to John too, because the people in the audience are calling in.
Yeah, I've got the list.
And here I am, a foot and a half away from your hand, and didn't notice it.
Well, I just was going to mention that it was written for the Allman Brothers. And that's the whole point of them. This song would have been theirs and would have been a hit for the Allman Brothers if anybody in Nashville other than John had understood how talented they were.
Well, I produced their first album, and they wrote a song to John, and they shot a pistol in the audio in the studio, and shot a hole in the roof, and it leaked as long as old Bradley lived.
Well, what this all leads up to, and I'm trying to move along because I know you don't have 3 hours and all, but because the Allman Brothers went to California and became the Allman Brothers, and the rest is history, I got to record the song that he had written for them. He said, you know, I don't think anything's going to happen to the Allman Brothers version. Do you want to do Break My Mind? And not only George IV, but Sammy Davis Jr. eventually did Break My Mind, and Margaret and Lee Hazelwood recorded it. Linda Ronstadt, Al Hurt, and the Byrds all recorded Break My Mind, and 100 other artists. That's
But George had the hit on it.
Well,
These guys had the covers on it.
well, I had
That they learned off of your version, by the way.
I had the country hit. That's right, and Baby, baby, tell a man at the ticket stand that you changed your mind. Let me run on out and tell the cab to keep his meter fly. If you say goodbye to me, baby, gonna break my mind. Break my mind.
Break my mind.
I just can't stand to hear the big jet engines whine. Break my mind. Break my mind. Oh Lord, if you leave, you're gonna leave a babbling fool behind. Baby, oh baby, let me take your suitcase off of the scales in time. Tell the man that you suddenly developed a thing about flying. 'Cause if you say goodbye to me, baby, you're gonna break my mind. I say break my mind. Help us now. Break my mind. No, I just can't stand to hear the big jet engines whine. Break my mind. Break my mind. Oh Lord, if you leave, you're gonna leave a babbling fool behind.
Is that it?
Pray for me.
Break my mind. And it did. Well, I have some more information.